was probably against that Bahamas team. There was like I remember guarding his two guys on their team, and I was like I was lifting. I thought I was pretty strong. Those guys would just like bump me, and like I was flying back, and I was like, oh, that's how strong you got to be to play at this level.
Aho, Dante Kakao, Miguel Sabayao. Welcome to the War Scouts Basketball Pod. I'm one of your co-hosts, Michael Swampy, and with me from the Tall Green Nation, from the Sticks, War Scout
right,
name
Treaty
Cardinal.
8. That's right, Treaty 8 represent.
Yeah,
Man.
it's been some time since we last pod.
Yeah.
I think it's been 9 months, literally since the beginning of the NBA season was the last time that we hopped on these mics and chatted with one another.
Someone could have had a baby by now.
That's right.
All. Yeah. Congratulations if you did.
Just so people are aware that Name and I keep in contact. We don't only talk to each other on the podcast. You know, we're actually friends in real life.
Yeah. We had a falling out and just stopped talking.
So lots of things has happened within these last couple months. Obviously, big NBA news that has occurred, but we'll get to that in a little bit. First, I wanted to chat a little bit about the basketball tournament that we just recently attended out in Merritt, BC. What was the about time? What was the tournament that we just had the opportunity of attending?
We were at the Tilkemchin Warriors basketball tournament, 43rd annual, and we've been there on other teams other than the War Scouts, but we haven't been there as the War Scouts since 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a couple of years, and I last attended that tournament in 2020, I believe, right before COVID. But I didn't go with War Scouts. I went with our brothers from down south, the Blackfoot Warriors, and played with Colin and Waylon, who has been on the podcast before, and that was a fun one. We won that one, and War Scouts made a return from our 2019 last time we played. Made a return this year, and we ended up taking home the first place.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Yeah, we had a great team. It was, just a great weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had unbelievable pickups. We had our entire starting lineup were university players, U Sports, ACAC, and we ended up playing a tough Similkameen team in our first game. And Similkameen had some really, really standout players, two of which we had a chance to talk to, both playing NCAA Div 2 and 3, I think it was, where the two big posts had played.
With them, but I think they said they were playing at like Div 3 schools, but they were solid, like solid players and just straight up solid.
It's so interesting. Like, even when you go to these res tournaments and any type of basketball tournament, anybody who has played any like college level basketball understands the game, and they are a relatively decent game and will shine in these tournaments. And those guys played Division 3, and they're phenomenal players. They're, what are they, 6'7"? Like, some big guys that were able to actually like put in work against a lot of teams.
Yeah, they were really good players. Both a load, took up a lot of space. You get in the key and you're like going to get bodied up. The one guy just had phenomenal footwork and just find his way to the basket and score, like soft touch. And the other guy was just solid too. But the whole Similkameen team could play, like the whole squad, their bench, like they're a team of like hard workers. They've been playing together for years. They're well coached. And they're like their top end talent are really strong too. And they're just like they're a team that like you're playing hard from the time the game starts till it ends. Like you're gonna have to work to win against those guys. And yeah, we had to we had to put in some tough work to beat those guys twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the listeners who aren't familiar with who Similkameen are or where they're from, can we give them just a bit of context?
Yeah, they're from the southern Okanagan. They're Syilx, or Okanagan people, and they're most of their team like are around the Kiramias area. So just like I know south of Penticton. I've only been out there a couple times, but yeah, big basketball community. Like women's and men's teams are very strong, and they've had like a long tradition of basketball there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were missing one of their key players, I would say, Sterling Peterson, who
Hmm.
from Similkameen, but he's also from Blackfoot area, and we see him often only because he comes to res tournaments in Alberta as well, having half his family here in Alberta, and so missing him as a key shooter, and they would have been a formidable squad. And like we I think we only beat them by 10 points or so in the first game, and
Hmm.
maybe 15 or more in the final. But yeah, they were definitely a tough team.
Yeah, yeah. One of their best players went down in I think the
Mm-hmm.
quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Leg injury. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, he's a really good player, and he would have made a difference for sure. So hope he's recovering. But they are a really good team, and like tons of respect to that team and like that whole entire Seal basketball program.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so also just to mention that we talked a little bit about this few of the guys that we had on our team. We had a chance. We obviously had both of us, but we also had two other players, Macasey Allen, who played at SAIT and is a national champion with SAIT Trojans, and he played with us on the wing. And we also had Amari Linklater, Mike Linklater's son, who played at USask and ended up winning MVP for the tournament. And he was just a like outstanding player, just to even like be on the floor with and be on his team, just to be able to
Mm.
witness the things that he was able to do with the ball and score the bucket.
Yeah, it's like I was so impressed. He's like he's just so smart. His like really high basketball IQ, um, and just like the thing I was most impressed is like he never gets rattled, like the
Mm.
whole game. Just like
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty even keel, like, and that's really what you want for a point guard. And I was just like super also so impressed by his athleticism. I didn't know he can get up pretty high and dunk the ball. Like he almost dunked it on somebody. He had a couple dunks in the tournament, but he almost like had a dunk on somebody on on a fast break.
It was an
But
alley oop.
yeah, yeah,
McCasey threw it to him.
yeah, yeah. I just like I did not know he was like that athletic, but he's just like such a good basketball player, and like you can tell like he's like just surrounded by basketball and basketball minds. Like
Mm.
like you can see the influences his dad is on him. Like his dad's such a like superb basketball player, is like super smart. And Amari is like, he's like a coach on the floor essentially.
Yep. Yep.
um he was like he was changing offenses for us and stuff, and like even on defense, like we made so many adjustments on defense because of his suggestions. It was so cool.
Yeah, and I think, and you forgot to mention too, like there was a few moments where we turned the ball over and there was a 2-on-1 fast break, or there's a fast break guy coming down, and Mario was back on defense, and he had two huge blocks, and one guy
Yeah.
tried to dunk it on him. He ended up blocking it, and then I think there was like a mix up with our pick and roll, and a guy ended up stealing the ball, and he was running on fast break, and it was like a Iguodala type situation where he came behind and blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Those
unreal.
are
And
those are sick.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then we also had our big man in the middle, Memphis Gambler. who played at Lethbridge, the Kodiaks, and
Yeah.
he was just a silky big man. He
Yeah.
was able to score down low, and he actually held himself up pretty good against those Similkameen bigs. And yeah, he was a smooth player as well.
Yeah, I was super impressed. I never saw him play before, and honestly, like I didn't know how he played, but his is like he's so mobile. Like
Mm-hmm.
for a guy his height and size, just super mobile and smooth. Shoot the ball, even handle it a bit. Like he was scoring off drives from like the top of the key, like 2, 3 dribbles on the floor, and scoring over guys and like reverse layup. He's a really good player, and yeah, I was also super impressed by Memphis.
Mm-hmm. I know we would be amiss if we didn't mention all of our other guys: JC, Dusty, Nikeo, all the guys coming off the bench, Tegan. You know,
Yeah,
I think we gelled really well, especially because this is our first time we all played against or played with one another in such a
yeah.
long time. Really, in reality, it's only Dusty, myself, Nikeo that play
You
men's
guys
league
play
in
with McKay?
Edmonton.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
who play
yeah,
together, and so like us coming together, I think we only had like 2 turnovers the first quarter playing together in that first game, and then we kind of sorted it out from there, and we all sort of gelled together, and we all
yeah.
communicated with one another, and we're able to, yeah, I think just coming together really helped us as a group.
Yeah, yeah, that was so like good how everyone just like came together so quickly in a weekend. And we forgot to mention Pat. Like we wouldn't have
Oh,
won that thing without Pat, man. Like he
yes,
like had so many like key defensive stops, like just like over and over and over again. It was great, great addition to our team.
Pat, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention. Pat was clutch. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
so clutch to have.
yeah.
Pat. So
He's
those who are wondering, Pat was our +1 import for the tournament. Where for the tournament, your team is supposed to be all native, with the exception of one, who we invited Pat to come out, and Pat was just exceptional for us.
yeah. It was like huge, huge pickup, and yeah, just like fun to be around, fun to play with. Like yeah, just really good, good addition to our team.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I love about, like, one of the best things about attending those tournaments, especially during the springtime, is of course the weather. Like, you're in such a beautiful territory, being in Merritt, BC. The sun is shining, and sort of like a deserty climate out there. But another thing too is we're seeing a lot of older faces, familiar faces that, all throughout the years that we've attended this tournament, we're able to see old friends and got to catch up a bit with some other people. And there's actually been a few times where people came up to us and they're like, "Hey, you guys are Cree? Like, I have family from such and such," and so we
Yeah,
connect in that way. And we've had so many of those cool conversations with like all the indigenous peoples out in BC, but it still always connects back to home too.
yeah, yeah. People we got the same nose as. Yeah, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, it was cool to be back at the tournament. Like we were at the Satina tournament in January. I don't think we even potted after that, but yeah, we were at Satina. I played, and yeah, it's good to be back at tournaments and seeing people. Like I haven't been at a tournament since probably 2020. This tournament in
Hmm.
2020, and it was just like good to be around ball again and just like watching people compete and seeing who's like up and coming. Like there's a lot of teams in this tournament we never saw before, and just seeing how they play together and like how strong their players are was really great to see. And just like the game in this province is it's it's really strong, and like people love basketball and they travel far. Like yeah, people come so far for this Lytton tournament, and it's a really good one.
Well, I mean, like the younger generation, like it's you and I are going to be playing Masters next year too, I think, right? but
Yeah, I could have
but
been playing Masters already, but
that's right.
yeah,
But like thinking about that Samilkameen team, even the host team, Bella Kula, who we ended up playing in the one semifinal, like those are all young guys, and they're gonna be, taking over these tournaments soon. Like they're good squads.
Yeah, it was really cool to see, like, and even playing against like teams we've never played against before,
Mm-hmm.
and just like having to adjust to like their style of basketball, and just yeah, it was really cool.
It's so interesting. So when we were growing up, a lot of like these res tourneys or even basketball in general is very much one on one. Whereas like we played against these young teams and they're just moving the ball, whipping it around, fast breaking every chance they got. Like it's a new style of game.
Yeah, we're aging out.
Yeah, we're getting
We're getting
old. Man.
old.
We're
Yeah.
getting old.
Yeah.
And then
Anarchy. Just kidding.
speaking of all the new generation of ballers and some familiar faces, we had a thrilling women's final too, right before the men's championship game that ended up going to overtime.
Yeah, that was a wild finish. That was a wild finish. Like, there was like a foul on a 3-point shot from one of the players on the Res Coast team, Jasmine, who's also just like a great basketball player. She like put up a shot from probably like NBA range.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she got fouled, banked it in,
Banked it in,
scored. Yeah, they were down 3. And then she like makes her free throw. They go up 1. And I think there's like 5 or 6 seconds left. And the Sacred Hoops team dribbles the ball down the floor and they throw it up. But what, like, I think someone on the other team tipped it out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like
0.2 seconds left.
Yeah. And they do this inbound play and they lob it up at the hoop to Tenny. And Tenny goes for like the tip in and gets fouled. And there's no time left on the clock, and she's shooting, and she misses her first and makes second, and they go to overtime. Yeah, it was just a crazy game. Like,
but even leading up to those final, like that final banked end 1-3, I think the lead change probably happened 10 different times before that. Like it was just a back and forth game.
Yeah, you could feel the intensity picking up. Like we were standing on the sideline waiting for our game and watching. We were actually like watching the whole game, but like you could feel the intensity picking up in those like last 2 minutes. Like all their like best players on the floor are there, and you just like, it's those times when you just like, you have to value your possessions and like not make a mistake. And like if you're on defense, you're just like D'ing up hard, and you could just feel that. And I guess like I kind of miss being around that. Like,
yes,
it was
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and like all those players on the floor all played UBCO or Okanagan College, Trinity Western. Like they were like, it was good basketball. And what's cool about it too is that this tournament, because in that area, like it's kind of like res hockey, I guess you can compare it if there's any comparison, where there's a lot of people coming out just to watch. And that gym was packed, and it was loud watching, like the amount of people that were watching that game, that final.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was like a good crowd pretty much the whole weekend, except our 8 a.m. game. It was like 6 people there.
Yeah, 8 a.m. game is a rough game.
Yeah. It was kind of a weird draw. Like our first game was Saturday morning at like 10:30 or something like that, 10:40, and then we won, and then we didn't play again till Sunday at 8 a.m., which is like fine, but it's just kind of, it's like other tournaments here, like at least getting one more game on Saturday, but yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, a part of me, and I was talking with maybe it was McCasey or JC, I can't remember who, but in that 8 a.m. game when we were warming up, I was like, man, this game should have been 8 p.m. Saturday or like 6 p.m. Saturday, because then you have the two top teams, right? that
Yep.
that
Yeah.
won
'Cause I like.
their first game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That Bombers team was good too. That
Yeah.
yeah. That Tyrone guy just like dropped 40 on us or
Yeah.
something like that. Ridiculous. Yeah.
Tyrone was Trinity Western, right? Is that where he played at?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was their import for the Bombers team. And I think our game plan was to try to shut down Tyrone as best as we can. I think he ended up still scoring 40 on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we ended up winning that game by 15 or so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we only held him to like 40, so we did our job. Yeah, he's unreal. I remember like 2 plays, like in almost back to back here, just like playing tough defense on him, like locking him down, and like anybody else, like probably would have missed that shot, but he just like drained them on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two straight in a row, like my hands directly in his face, and he was just so casual as he did it, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had like they had a bunch of savvy veterans on that team who are like experienced and know the game. I really enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed being back. Like I didn't play. I was like coaching and managing the team because like I got injured about a month and a half ago, and I wasn't able to play. But it was like so motivating to like be there, and like it's kind of like almost addicting, like like that feeling of like competitiveness, like
Yep.
there's like animal inside me. Come out. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, like it was like really, it was really good to be around that again and like see like the people around me like just like laying it all out on the floor and stuff. I'm like, I got to get back out there.
Well, I was talking with a few of those Bombers guys during the game, like just standing by their bench. I was telling them like it's always so nice coming down to play, and you could care less if you win or lose. It's during the play. There's a lot of joy in sort of in being a part of that. Being part of that
Mhm.
environment, and it fills our spirit, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, something that we always sometimes we kind of we miss it, right?
Yep.
We sometimes we forget about that feeling, and so reigniting that spirit, I think, is always important and good.
Yeah, definitely, especially like if we were able to like keep that team together, I would be like that would be an ideal team to play on. Like like got a ton of pieces there that you look at like consistently win tourneys.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, with that, unfortunately, we won't be entering the next big tournament, which is happening in Winnipeg.
Yeah. It's just busy time for people.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's May 14th, 16th. Battle for Turtle Island, which is hosted by Terrence Ross and Leonard Monkman. We had them on the pod last year to chat a little bit about their own tournament. And what's cool this year is they actually had a spot opened for them on the men's side because the team dropped out. So what they did was they just had a free agents team. So first 10 people to be able to pay $120, whatever it was, could get free entry to the tournament, but they also receive a free jersey as well. So that's a cool way to do it. If you're short a team, just to open up the free agents like that, that's really cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that before at one of these tourneys.
No, I've seen it before. You see it often in like rec leagues.
Oh yeah.
Rec men's league or rec tournaments or whatever. And in our ESSC days, the individuals team.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Just a hodgepodge of players.
Yeah. We're multi-time ESSC champs, by the way.
Yeah.
Kidding.
I think we mentioned that episode too.
Yeah.
It's about time we brought that back up on episode
Yeah.
27. You know,
Yeah. Just wanted to remind you.
remind our listeners, you know, of our legendary past.
Yep. And I think Mike's being humble too, because he got an All-Star award for that tournament. Yeah, just on fire from three, like knocking them down. Probably like at least on average 6 threes a game on average. There's a game where he had like 9 or 10, but at least 6 on average.
Yeah, it helps that the free throw line was a high school free throw line, not the FIBA free throw line. So that's what I was telling Dusty, anyways.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to play with all those guys again too. Like Dusty, I haven't played with Dusty in so long. It's fun. Yeah, and he came up big, and on Sunday he was like knocking down threes and stuff, and yeah, keeping that lead for us.
And shout out Dusty too. If you were to see any photos or anything on Facebook or on Instagram of our team playing, we're wearing jerseys that were actually designed by Dusty and his Mobilize company. So huge shout out to him, and you know, we might be looking at some rebranding opportunities here.
Yeah. Those jerseys were beautiful, especially the white and pink. Like those were our fire, man. Like, yeah, those are beautiful. I got so many compliments from people on those, like on those jerseys, like telling me how nice they are and stuff. And then at the end, they were like, when we took our like championship photo, they just like pulled out that flag, and I was like, oh crap.
Yeah. Also, if anybody's curious, in the photos for the final, I had to leave with about 3 minutes or 4 minutes left in the game. I had a flight to catch, so I was on the road, and the game ended at 6:20, and I had a flight at 9 o'clock. So I had to, and it's an hour and 40 minutes to the airport, so I had to quickly hop in the car and change on the way, and I made my flight with 10 minutes to spare. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't in the championship photo.
Yeah. I did crop him in though on the Instagram story.
Yeah, that's right. So, Naeem, it has been some time. So in the last 9 months, is there anything you would like to share in terms of tournaments or anything along those lines? I don't know if we chatted about even Whalen's big tournament.
No, we didn't.
In Calgary. Yeah, we didn't even. Yeah.
Well, we get there like 4th place.
Yep. We finished one shy of the money.
Yeah, it was my first tourney back in like since 2020, which is going for fun. See where it's at.
Yep.
Scored a bucket, but yeah, just like kind of like for me, it was like a kind of feeling things out. Like, where's my body at? Like, and where's my game at in comparison to everybody else? And it was like way down here compared to everybody else. So it's a long way to go. And I was legit trying to get ready for this tournament, but like I was like playing ball, but I wasn't like doing things that are like build my body back up. And that's like probably why I got hurt, because I was just like jump right back in the ball and like wasn't doing the things I needed to do, like, you know, like strength training and that kind of stuff. Like, yeah.
Well, but I'll say that it's good that you ended up sitting out this most recent tournament, only because I had a similar issue leading up to the Sutina tournament, Whalen's tournament, and I had a calf issue probably like 2 weeks before playing in men's league. And then during the Sutina tournament in the second game, I ended up, my calf like seized up like crazy. I didn't think I pulled my Achilles or anything like that, but I ended up having to, I think I tried to play the third game, and it just was not working out. And I ended up having to sit out the final games, which is a bummer. And that calf issue just lingered for about 6 weeks until I was able to work out the kinks a little bit. And then obviously it's much better now. But yeah, like always be mindful of those little nagging injuries because it can worsen, right? And so, especially when you get older.
Yeah, and that's why we got fourth place, because Mike wasn't 100%, and he missed the last game and a half pretty much. So
that's not entirely true. Yeah. Yeah, that tournament though, the Calgary tournament it's always a tough one, right? Because you get teams from the States, and the two teams that ended up being in final was a Montana team that was really tough. We ended up losing to them in the semifinals, and then the team that won it is a collection of players from Oklahoma, kind of all over the place. There's a 6'9" or 6'10" guy from Wichita State who had just played following Fred VanVleet, and I think that was it. That was the years after Fred VanVleet had played at Wichita State, and they made that big run. And so, yeah, like I don't think anybody was going to be beating that one team, because they were the NCAA Div 1 players who were just unreal.
Yeah, they mercied everybody, and T Ross was running with them too. But yeah, that guy, super nice dude, nice dude. Just like telling us his story while we're chatting with him and stuff. But just like, yeah, they were so strong, and then like that Montana team that put us out, like they just out physicaled us like that. That's just what it was. They were just super physical. Yeah. Yeah, but that's always a strong tournament, and to get fourth in that tournament is just like it's totally respectable, like just because of all the great teams there.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because that was my second time getting fourth in that tournament.
You got third last year, didn't you?
We got third last year. The year before, I think we finished fourth. Year before that, I think we finished fourth. That tournament's to honor the memory of Stanley Big Plume, and they only committed to 4 years, and so that was the fourth and last one was this year. And so next year there won't be one unless Waylon has something cooking. I don't know. We're gonna have to try to get the deets and see if there's anything replacing that Stanley Memorial Tournament, because that's a huge one.
Yeah, it would be cool if they brought the Warriors Battle back. WBBT.
Yep.
That was always good. Remember wasn't there one year was like you could only have like one sub?
Yes, Ironman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ironman tournament. Those are always fun. I asked Waylon to try and run one again.
Yeah, and they always had like NBA threes.
Yeah.
In those tournaments, like, yeah.
That's where I when we had our old Musquecheese basketball club when we were all in high school, when we were young kids, and we were playing this old veteran Montana team, and we were losing by like 20 or so, because they just literally just moved the ball and posted us up the entire time. But I scored my my career high. I scored 50 points, and I made, I think it was like 11 or 12 threes, and that was when they had the NBA three. So I was a high schooler, and I was like so pumped, like I can do it. I can make it to the NBA. Oh, the delusion.
No. Yeah. You gotta be delusional.
Yeah. You gotta have, a little cork loose when you think you can make it to the NBA.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, those tournaments are always good. And I remember that year we went to that Ironman. It was like me, you, Codes, Sean, John, and I don't know who else. Was it Matt or was it David?
It might have been Matt. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember like that was like one of the first times we beat a Montana team. And I remember like being super pumped about that. And then I think we were just tired after that.
Yeah.
We left it all in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And then there is another memorial tournament, the McMaster Memorial Tournament, I believe, that's happening in Siksika, June, I want to say 4th. That's going to be happening.
Yeah. Jamie, pull up that tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, June 4th to the 6th. Now, the unfortunate thing with that one is like it's Thursday. It runs Thursday to Saturday, so
Oh
it's tough,
wow.
especially like as a men's tournament, like trying to get off work and being able to try and attend that. It's tough, but I
Yeah.
know some people will absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you like especially working in education, like trying to get time off in June, it's just like not gonna happen.
Yep. Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough one, but I know last year they the same guy, the 6'9" guy from Wichita State, had attended that tournament last year as well.
Oh no way. Wow.
Yeah, and so they ended up winning. Um, what's the craziest thing that that guy was telling us is that he was never recruited for his height for basketball. He was recruited for football. He had opportunities to go to Oregon and Washington State as was it linebacker or
Oh, he's a tight
some
end.
tight end, like
Yeah.
unreal. That guy's coming up to Alberta to compete against us.
Yeah. Yeah. Come to take our money.
Yeah. You know, our dollar isn't that great right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been cool though if he went and played football at Oregon.
Oh yeah, yes. For those who don't know, name's a duck for life.
Yeah. Been an Oregon Ducks fan since day one.
CSIP for life.
Yeah.
CSIP for life. Yeah. Yeah. So tons of tournaments. There's also tournaments that had happened at Onion Lake. Tourney season has come and gone. Now we're going to be heading to summer. Not too many tournaments in the summer, with the exception of maybe in the States. I know Battle for Nations just recently happened, a massive 80 team tournament that a few teams from Blackfoot and Sutina had attended. Kainai had attended that tournament, but that one's a huge tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. Some huge names that play in that one.
Mm-hmm. Names idle. Luke Martinez is in it.
Yeah. Come on a pod, Luke.
Come on a pod, Luke. Yeah. And Luke Martinez plays for Turtle Mountain, which is in North Dakota, I believe. Turtle Mountain Res, and they had a wicked squad. Team 81 teams. They came out on top last year, but this year it was a team from Oklahoma, I believe, that won it.
Yeah.
Tevin Foster and his brother Ronnie Battle. Those guys actually run as a squad too. They came up last year for the Stanley Memorial and they won that one. Like, they're just unreal players.
Yeah. Were those guys on Lords of the Plains back
Yep.
in the day? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if that team still runs. That was a sick team.
Mm-hmm. LOP. Back in the day, they played at the World Indigenous Basketball Tournament, Basketball Challenge, WIBC.
10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. We're gonna have to bring like Dave or like Desi on one time to talk about that, like, and how that came about, because that was such a cool experience.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stories. Just kidding.
I think that was the WIBC was so cool because obviously you had like the Australian Indigenous team, you had the Maori national team, you had a team from the Bahamas coming to compete. You had South Sudan come and compete, who had qualified for the Olympics just this recent Olympics. Back then, they were just getting their federation started, and they decided to come and play in WIBC. And so, what was cool too about the World Indigenous Basketball Challenge was that I think, from my understanding, was that it was going to eventually lead into being a qualifier into like an entry level national tournament against other national teams.
Wow.
Now, I don't know how exactly that was going to work, but that could be a conversation or a topic that we can talk with Desi or Dave. Like, that'd be cool just to sort of get the background on what that sort of looked like from their perspective.
Yeah. That'd be really cool to know. Yeah, that was like probably like the top basketball tournament we've ever been in. Just
Yep.
like because of the amount of talent across the board. And I would say like the toughest game was probably against that Bahamas team because like some of those guys were like pro players. And there was like I remember guarding the like two guys on their team, and I was like I was lifting, I thought I was pretty strong. Those guys would just like bump me, and like I go flying back, and I was like, oh, that's how strong you got to be to play at this level. So it was it was cool. It was cool to play against them.
So in summary, in the last 40 minutes that we've been conversing, our listeners have learned two things. First thing is that there's levels to this game that we're talking about. We think we're good, but we get humbled quickly. And two, it gets worse as you age. And that's it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. We'll be the young guys in Masters.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
A fresh 35-year-old in Masters.
Yeah. I think in like next episode, maybe we should like do a reflection on those like NBA picks.
Yep.
See how off we were with those things. Always funny to look back.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That like there was some things where I think we only got like one team horribly wrong, and that might have been the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, who ended up missing playoffs entirely. But for the most part, I think our picks were actually pretty solid. Like Oklahoma was a top pick from the start. I was a little worried. I thought our New York Knicks pick, because we had them being one of the top teams, was going to be not so great mid-season, but it ended up working out because right now they advanced, beating the Atlanta Hawks. And then the Raptors play, if people are listening to this on Sunday, they play tonight on Sunday, May 3rd. Yeah. So game 7. Go Raps, baby.
Go Raps.
Yeah, well, that was an awesome little check-in for our folks, and hopefully we can do this again next week.
Yeah, totally. And whoever's still downloading our past episodes, because it was like I don't know who you are, but we're like still getting like 30 downloads a week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And if you haven't done so yet, follow us on anywhere you get podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, all of our socials. We are just War Scout Pod, at War Scout Pod on everything, including YouTube. I haven't checked our YouTube account in a hot minute, but I think we're still sitting
at some money. You can have some money there. You don't know.
Let's get 500 subscribers here to YouTube, please. You know, like and subscribe.
Cool.
Okay.
Good to be back.
Yes, good to be back. Thanks for chatting, Name. Hi. Ishnish Magwech, Masi Joe.
See you later.